You are listening to Voice of the Time with Haroon and Tharib.
Hello, everybody. This is Haroon, and along with me is Tharib. This is the third episode, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of social media, technology, internet, mental health, a mixture of everything, I would say, just to keep you guys entertained and informed about today's world, I would say. As you know, that things have changed a lot over the years in terms of technology. Also, as you can see, we live in a new normal. We're living during this pandemic. This is going to be written in the history books, I would say. Next 100 years, they're going to be talking about this. So it's pretty exciting that we're going to be in the history books, that we survived coronavirus, we survived Donald Trump, and it's pretty, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm going to be living the next 100 years. I don't think so, to be honest with you, Tade, but it's because I think what I eat is not that great. But thought
you're living the American dream, I guess.
I can't agree with you more. I am living the American dream in terms of food, I would say. If you're gonna be talking about if you're gonna be talking about money wise, not too much. I'm not a millionaire yet.
I don't think you eat very good. I think all your food goes to Shibu, if you know what I mean.
You know what? I agree. Especially the drive-through stuff. I recently had a Taco Bell. Taco Bell is. You've had Taco Bell in the past. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good to fill you up, but
yeah.
If you're talking about, if it's really healthy, no, unless you go full vegetarian.
Yeah.
But anyways, Tariq, how are you, man?
I'm good, man, and some interesting points you made about how COVID is going to be in the history books, just like the Spanish flu we had 100 years ago. So, it's a very strange time for us as a generation because we've never faced anything like this. We're in our late 20s, actually early 20s, and we haven't faced any wars, I would say, as per se.
Right.
But I feel like every generation goes through this, and this is I hope this is not a once in a lifetime situation and we don't have to go through this again. But yeah, man, it's a very strange time we live in. Everyone is on a lockdown, not much going around, everyone's home, so it increases, as with our topic about social media. I'm pretty sure the logistics and the statistics have just increased during this COVID of how many people are on their phones and how much hours they spend. So, which was before the COVID, which was even harmful, but after COVID, I guess it's out of the charts. I haven't seen the stats, but I'm pretty sure that they have increased.
Right. You remember the stats we did a few weeks ago. I'm ready to do the stats right now with you, Tharib. Let's have a look, man. Let's have a look.
Sure.
Let's look at. I know you've let's just tell the audience about the changes you've been making over the past few weeks in terms of using social media and utilizing your phone. I know you got the new iPhone 11. Before getting the iPhone 11, you were very excited. I remember you telling me, "Oh, I got the new camera and all that stuff." I understand things change, and I think whatever you're doing, it's gonna affect you. Hopefully, it's affecting you positively. Anyways,
I mean, I read this book, right? I read this book. I got it from Amazon. About the book is titled "How to Break Up with Your Phone," and it had very interesting points, and I tried to implement those points in my life. But the thing is, I keep falling into relapse. There are some good days, and then there are some bad days. You know, there are some good days where I can only touch my phones a few times a day. But then there are days where you go into the black hole of Instagram and you just keep scrolling and scrolling, and like you look up at the clock and it's like 2 hours gone. And you're like, what happened? Yeah, the memes and the posts. So it's a up and down. But I feel like the days where I do use it less, I feel like I get a lot more done. I feel like I'm more focused on the projects or the things I'm doing. And the days where I do use it a lot, I feel at the end of the day more strained. I feel more exhausted. Sometimes I even have a headache. So it's very clear when you do make these changes in your life, and it's very sudden. Like you can almost feel it from the next day that, oh wow, such a sudden change in my attitude and with my phone can actually change my life and my behavior and my span of attention so much. So it's very interesting. I think people should at least give it a try of, using their phone like for a very limited amount of time in a day, and they'll definitely see the difference.
Right. I get your point where you're coming from. There's no doubt. It's gonna affect you positively. I mean, if you look into the positive aspect of it, 100%, it's gonna help you out. I mean, if I spend 2 hours scrolling down Twitter, I when I'm on Twitter, right, I feel like people are just constantly arguing, with each other, and they have nothing better to do with their lives. Same thing with Facebook. You go to CNN's Facebook page, or Fox News page, and what I like to do is I like to look into the comments and stuff, and I like to see what people are just talking about, and it's like I'm wasting my time. I know I'm not gonna get any I'm not gonna get any I'm not gonna get any good out of it, but I just like looking at people and what they're talking about, and I see a lot of these comments, what most people comment on, and it's very surprising. It's like surprises me a lot that most people just give their heart out when they're commenting on stuff, and most of it just doesn't make any sense. But to me, I'm entertaining myself when I read these comments, because most people watch YouTube. Now when I'm watching a YouTube video, let's say, the first thing before I watch a video is scroll down
you see the comments.
just to check what people are arguing about, or what someone has to troll about. Now anyways, back to what I was, what I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna be. Let's start off with me first about the activity time and all that stuff. My number one app, just like last week, Tarek, is Instagram.
Oh really?
So again, I'm looking at the last 10 days. Number one app I used was for the 10 days was Instagram. About almost 14 hours, man. And my second most app was Google, which was about 7 hours, and the third one was Facebook, which was about 8 hours.
Wow.
In the past 10 days. What about you, Tarek?
Wait, you had a YouTube there?
No, I don't have. I have YouTube on my 4th, so
You have. Oh, it's on the 4th now.
Yeah, it's on the 4th. Yeah, but the thing is,
like number one a few days ago, like 10 days ago.
Right. I believe I usually watch YouTube on my tablet device and my laptop versus my phone, because the phone's too small.
Okay.
And I'm blind. So,
So just for our audiences, we did this 10 days ago, where we go onto our iPhone and we check our screen time for our apps. And the results were pretty interesting, and we're just comparing it now. So you were doing it weekly or daily?
No, we if you look at the last 10 days.
Last 10 days?
24 hours. Yeah, 10 days, yeah.
So for me, number one is YouTube, and in the past week actually, I've used it 8 hours, and then
Wow.
second one is a Bayina TV BTV. This it's an app where I do courses, and I have 4 hours on that weekly. And Instagram is 2 hours, and I am very proud of that. I am so proud of myself using just 2 hours of Instagram last week.
That is crazy, man. I mean, for the past 10 days, you've been using 2 hours of Instagram.
This is actually weekly. I don't know how to pull out 10 days. I'm doing.
Oh, let's see. Are you on the battery section or are you on the screen time?
I'm actually on screen time right now.
Oh, my bad. I was on battery. Let me see.
You should
Yeah,
check.
my bad.
Just check your screen time.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, you know what? Let's see here. For the past week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure it out. Let's see. This week or last week?
This week.
Oh, this week. This week's not too bad for me. I would say today's Wednesday, right? I would just do last week.
So yeah, let's do last week. Let's see that.
Right,
that
last
would be
week,
more
yeah.
accurate.
Right. So my most used app last week was again Instagram, 11 hours. Facebook was 5.5 hours, and then third was Google, which was 4 hours. What about you?
So I had YouTube number one, which was 13 hours.
Uh-huh.
And then I have the second app, Bayina, the same app where I do courses, that was 6 hours. And Instagram is third with 4 hours. And then fourth is Zoom for 2 hours, where I mostly talk to my mom. And if my mom is listening to this, I love you, Mom. I just have to put it out there. And so my social media, I'm actually very proud. I have implemented a lot, like, because weekly I would be using Instagram, let's say 16 hours, 17 hours. And now it's
Right.
gone to just 4 hours a week. And Facebook is actually 1 hour. So
Right.
I guess the book helped me.
Definitely. I mean, I can see that. I mean, 4 hours, just for the past week,
Yeah.
that's like almost, spending 5 to 10 minutes a day. And probably you might be following Arsenal, I guess, just to check up on them.
I follow Arsenal. I follow Arsenal players. I follow the fan pages. I follow. You
Right.
know me. I'm an Arsenal fan. But yeah, man, it was
Right.
just very. It's just so. It's so different, and it's just so unconsciously taking so much of your time, where you just don't even know that Instagram. When actually you look at your screen time and it tells you have used 17 hours of your weekly time using Instagram, and you're like, what? I don't think that's accurate, but it is actually accurate. You just don't realize that you're spending so much of your time on Instagram, because time on
Crazy.
social media flies. As you said, people have different irks to what they're attracted to. You said you like reading comments.
Right.
I actually don't like that. I just follow posts. I just look at content. But I do
Right.
actually see where you're coming from, because comments can be very attractive, and it's just it's like you're just watching a debate, but you're actually just reading it.
You're right. I mean, it's like, especially if you look into the, the political side of it, you see most of these people, most of these, comments just bashing each other. It's like, I kind of think of this sometimes, that what if those two people are on the street? It just kind of surprises me, like, what would happen next to these people if they were just standing next to each other,
I don't
And
think they
also
would be
one
that
thing-
discivil. I think if they're standing face to face, they wouldn't be talking like that. I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing about social media, which is very interesting, is that people like to talk shit behind the screen. It's like I like the fact, like, how people are just so comfortable in when it comes to talking shit behind the screen, and when it comes to meeting you face to face, they like to sugarcoat a lot of things, and stuff. And as soon as people turn around, they talk a lot of shit behind your backs. It's not the same as in New York, I remember, and especially I know how people in New York are, it's completely different out there. I know if one New Yorker doesn't like something, he or she would make sure they say it in front of your face. But here in the Midwest, it's like people are very, people like to act cool, hip, and loving, but in the same time as when they turn their backs around, they change. And I've seen this a lot, especially where I work at. Work would be different, but especially everywhere you go. I mean, if you're going to a college party, you're gonna have the same stuff everywhere you go. I'm not too sure about New York, but if a person, I just think people like to talk shit behind, their backs, and it's really awful,
That's the
but
thing
it is
with
what it
social
is.
media. It's not a very constructive way of having an argument, because you're just commenting and you're just taking all your frustration out, and then the
Right.
next person is taking all his frustration out. So it's not a constructive way of having an argument, and that's the thing. I personally think I've never commented on social contents or political contents. I just really hardly comment on anything. I just like
Right.
pictures, and I don't like to get into debates, because again, I don't even know the person behind the screen. I don't know their
Right.
social background. I don't know where they're sitting or what they're doing or who they are. So there's no point
Right.
of me trying to have an argument with a total stranger. And if you would have noticed in these comments, it's just you can tell them the most logical thing, but they still wouldn't get your point. They wouldn't still agree with you, because they have this preconceived notion of what is right and wrong, and
Right.
you have a preconceived notion of what is right and wrong. So no matter what you tell them a fact that is 100% accurate, they're still not gonna believe you. So I feel like comment section is just useless for me, actually. Unless I'm just praising someone or I'm complimenting someone, I hardly say anything.
Right. I'm not sure if you remember this, but when we were kids, this is like when we were like 14, 15, if somebody would put, we were, as a kid, we were very aggressive and all that stuff. And if somebody would, let's say, comment bad on your favorite team or player, then we would bash,
Yeah.
like, do them like, hey, shut up,
Yeah.
blah, blah. But, those adults, right, are behaving like kids on social media, and they express their views. And it's just very weird. It's like adults behaving like kids.
Yeah.
And it's not only just an American problem, but I've seen actually posts from I would say Pakistan and Dubai, not Dubai, but the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen and I've seen Arabs, talking shit about their problems. Same thing with most Pakistanis. They like to talk shit about their stuff, and it just amazes me. Like, people are people, and people are gonna remain. People are gonna have that same mindset no matter where they are, and it just surprises me. I just don't have any words to say, but again, it surprises me a lot. Back when I was growing up, again, when internet was just growing. I remember the DSL days, and before that, the dial-up days. We used internet for communicating, long distances to people in our countries and stuff. But Facebook wasn't there. Did you ever use MySpace, Tadib?
Oh no, I never did.
I never did either, but I just have a little idea of it. When Facebook first came out, back, I created a Facebook account back in 2008 or 2007. I don't remember, but people were very, very, very nice back then. You wouldn't find, angry people just, spitting out on each other. They were very respectful and all that stuff. But things have changed a lot over the years, and a lot of it has to do with our president, I would say. Trump has changed a lot of things, has divided a lot of people in the United States, I would say. Liberals bashing conservatives, and it's just back and forth, I'm not in favor of anybody. I would be in the center, I would say. I'm neither a Democrat or a Republican, but it is what it is.
I mean, as you were saying with the comments, right? As you said, it's not a cultural problem. It's not an ethnicity problem. I feel like everywhere, throughout the world, because social media is global. You go to any part of the world, people have Facebook, people have Instagram, and it's just people just. I feel like people just act in a very similar way when they're on social media. It's very difficult to differentiate between people. I feel like everybody's just everyone
childish.
is just screaming and bashing and in the comment section, of course. But it is a very unusual place to have a conversation. But we do see a lot of conversations happen there, and I'm pretty sure there are people out there who would stand up for social media, and they would say that it has brought up a big change in how we live, and it has improved so many things. And we're not here taking anything away from social media. We're just saying that it has actually brought in a lot more problems too with it, and it's such a new thing that we're still doing research. We're still figuring out how to make the best of it and how to avoid the worst of it. So that is a very difficult spot, and we are in right now, because as we move on to our discussion of mental health, and we covered that in our last episode, that it's affecting people mentally. And the scary part is people don't even know that it is actually affecting them. And I hope that in the next few years, or even during this COVID, people do realize that social media does take up a lot of their life, and it does take up a good amount of good chunk amount of way they behave, they act, they talk, the way they carry themselves. So I think it's a very good time, COVID, for people to practically analyze themselves and how to use their devices.
Right, and not only that, I mean, that's a very good point you made. I would say, utilize their time, look at themselves in the mirror, try to lose their weight, try to make themselves look prettier. And if you have a mental problem, I would say go to the hospital. I mean, go to a psychiatrist or whatever you have and get yourself consulted and treated, so that a lot of these issues, right, like people arguing with each other on social media, leads to a lot of messed up shit, like schools. You've seen this. I mean, we've been here in this country for about 7 years now, I would say, and we have seen a lot of school shootings, Talib. You and I know this very, very well. In Dubai, right? Yes, bullying was a thing. Online bullying was a thing. But in the US, it's a different story. We have guns over here at almost every household. I don't know about New York, because New York has a very strict, they have very strict gun laws. So it's really hard to get a gun in New York. But in Missouri, right? We live in a red state. So you find a lot of hillbillies down the road and all that shit. So people are basically, I would say 75% of the people here in Missouri have guns, and most of them should not have guns. And, and whatever happens online can lead to mass destruction. And I don't want to get too, political on this, but these are facts, guys. I know whether you like it or not, online, social media issues online is going to end up, basically it's going to mess a lot of things up. What do you think about, as far as the negativity, what do you think about the positives of social media, Tarek?
I mean, it's just a cliche answer I think I'm going to give, is that you can bring out awareness of certain important topics. You can form a movement. You can actually see a wrong and publicize it to minimize its effect. You can bring
Right.
about political campaigns. Like, we know how much heavy influence social media has on our politics, and it played a big part in Obama becoming a president. It played a big part in Trump becoming a president. So there are, of course, good social effects. You can like socialize. You can talk to your old friends. You can find family members over, and like there's so many
Right.
situation and stories where lost family members have been found through social media. So there's always that positive, but I do not want to go into the positives, because I know that there's the negatives outweigh the positives for now too much. Of course, we can use
Right.
it to our advantage. Of course, we can switch the plug and we can start using it in a better way, but that needs to bring about a change in the whole country and the whole world. There needs to be a certain rules and guidelines of how people use social media. There was this interesting thing came out. I don't know if you know the soccer team, Crystal Palace player Wilfred Zaha. He was racially abused on social media. So, Facebook actually blocked that person from social media, and but Zaha came out and he said that social media needs to monitor racism more effectively, and they should have harsher punishments for people that are using racist comments or using racist statements in the social media, which is so true, because as you said in the comment section, you see and you read all kind of crazy stuff with no respect to ethnicities, religion, color, and just people
Oh my
blasting
God.
stuff.
Right.
So it does, as you said, it does kind of have an effect on the society when you're reading all this stuff, and it forms a certain type of opinion, and it is very impressionable to young people.
Right.
And then, as you said, young people go out and do these crimes that are just unthinkable. And school shooting is an American problem, which is
Right.
very new, and it has never happened in the history of mankind that you have an institution for education and then you have kids showing up and just killing innocent people. But
Right. I mean, as we come from a, we have a Pakistani background, to be honest with you guys. But the thing is, you would expect such stuff happening in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these countries where terrorism is pretty much active. Yes, there have been incidents in Pakistan and Afghanistan where schools have been blown up and all that shit. But yes, we live in a first world country where all of this shit is pretty common. And excuse my language, guys. For those of you who are listening right now, I just can't find a better term to describe it. So
I mean, social media, even
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
even it's just and not just on the kids. Even you would see grown-up adults behaving like kids, and it's
Right.
just the mental health. It's not just what you read; it's just you're in your brain. Being constantly exposed to social media, you start comparing yourself to other people. You know what I mean? And you start comparing yourself to a celebrity, or you want to live that life or that life, and you start seeing all those Instagram stories, which is again very unhealthy. And if you're constantly spending 4 or 5 hours every day looking at that stuff, it's gonna change you mentally. It's gonna change your thought process. So I mean, I really sympathize with people who are trying to take a break from social media and trying to implement that into their life. And I hope best of luck to everyone who's trying to during this COVID time, who realizes that there is a social media problem and they have seen the light and they're trying to cut down their time. Because I would say this to everyone who's listening: please try to cut down your time on social media. It will do you more good than bad, and it will make you build real connections with people. You'll become a more authentic person.
Right. And coming back, again, we are not against social media, but the thing is, yes, we all know why social media is important, and we all know and we understand the good sides of having social media, such as about having a business. I mean, it's pretty good to promote your business and all that stuff. I mean, spreading awareness, like you mentioned about Obama and all that, and Trump, you know, but especially about the Black Lives Matter movement, as we're still spreading awareness and through social media, and how much that has changed over the course of few weeks. You have just look into, I mean, let's focus on soccer. Let's say, let's see soccer, or football, for the guys outside the US. Looking back, I mean, especially soccer, as you can see, Barclays Premier League, and I don't know about the other leagues, but as you saw during the beginning of a game, they kneel for about 8 minutes, I guess. I'm not even sure for how long, but to pay respect for George Floyd and
no, I think it's 1 minute. One minute before the game. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, they are still doing a pretty good job, and social media was one of the sources which brought attention to a lot of these organizations around us, which led to all these practices, what we see on television and basically stuff around us. And also coming back, again, you mentioned about video games and all that. That is so true. I'm not sure if you play online. I mean, you do play online FIFA, right? But if you try to log in on and play, let's say, Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, right? And if you play with these kids online, these are like little squeakers, right? And like 12 or 13, and I'm not even sure how their parents allowed them, how are they allowing them to play all these violent video games?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna point fingers to their parents, because I was the same way. I played GTA 4 when I was like, I'm not GTA 4, GTA San Andreas and Vice City when I was growing up. But
I'm not,
those
were good days.
Right. I'm not gonna point fingers at their parents, but it's their choice. But again, these kids, right? These are little kids.
Yeah.
Spitting out racial slurs. I actually had one of the kids call me an N-word. Basically, they said an N-word to me, and I said, "Hey, I'm not black." And then the kid's response to that was, "Hey, you're a sand."
Wow.
Sand N-word. I don't want to say the word, but yeah.
Wow.
Like the sand, like this, they called me a sand, and then the guy said, "Sand, you sand, N-word," and I'm like, dude, man,
they're getting more inventive, huh?
Right. And then I'm like, yo, I mean, this was 3-4 years ago, but it kind of surprises me, like, how kids can openly say all these racial slurs and their parents are doing nothing, and probably
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. That's how they were brought up. Their system of education is more inclined towards racism than towards equality. So,
right.
But it's crazy that you mentioned that. But that's the thing. With social media, you get exposed to all kind of stuff, and you get to see all different views, and you're like, wow, such views do exist in the world, and how ignorant people can be.
Right.
And at this point, I just start to laugh. I'm like, man, you are something else. Like, you really are putting it out there. You really are trying.
Right. I can't agree with you more. And also one more point you mentioned earlier about the comparison. You mentioned about something about the comparison trap.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very good point you made. You have these YouTubers and people, Instagram models and all that stuff, just basically telling people that if you don't have a nice house, a car, or an excellent job, or have a nice family, you're not good to today's society and stuff like that. And in the end of the day, people fall into depression. And not only that, people end up committing suicides. Yeah. It's crazy, man. I mean,
that's the thing. If you take it to that level, where you're spending this crazy amount, and your life revolves around social media, and your life revolves around how many likes you have, how aesthetically pleasing your pictures look, what are people saying about you, then that you go into that loophole. And as we see, there's so many celebrities that commit suicide. This my mom told me this. There was this TikTok celebrity in India, and
Right.
she was one of the most famous, and she recently committed suicide.
Wow.
And she was very young. She was like, I think 14, between 14 to 16 years old, and
Why,
she
why,
was
why
making
did she
good
commit suicide?
I think she was battling cyberbullying, and with that, she was battling depression too. So,
Wow.
as I said, this can be a very dangerous trap, and not everyone is immune to that. So it's very important to balance it out, man. If you
It's
don't,
crazy, yeah.
I've been a victim of that too. I'm not better than anyone. When I was back in the days when I was using it a lot, you start,
yeah.
and it's natural. You start just comparing yourself to others. Oh, I wish I had that
agree,
car.
I agree.
Oh, I wish I had that outfit. I wish I lived that life. But
Right.
it's just very unhealthy way of looking at life and your perspective in life.
I can't agree with you more. Again, I mean, it just surprises me a lot that a lot of these people, right, are basically blindsided. I mean, they don't look into themselves, how privileged they are, how lucky they are to be in this world. And, a lot of these people just don't understand that, they are very, very lucky to have what they have at the moment. Not a lot of people can afford a good smartphone. Not a lot of people can afford internet. Not a lot of people can afford, all these basic necessities what we have. Again, there are a lot of people in this world, unfortunately, who don't have clean water, who don't have proper, sanitary, I'm not sure what the term is, but you get the point.
I mean,
You know,
you're
and-
right. A lot of people struggle with necessities.
A lot of these things, we just take a lot of these stuff for granted, I would say, and it's kind of scary, what a lot of people, do, what a lot of people basically do in the end of the day, without thinking all these things. But in the end of the day, mental health is a real thing. We can't ignore that. And if you are facing all of these things, I would say, I would highly suggest get yourself checked. And also, one more thing, you mentioned about having more likes and stuff, keeps
Yeah.
you happy and all that stuff. And that's very, very true. That is very true. That is, I'm actually a victim of that, I would say.
Yeah.
Even now, it's like, when I post when I post something on Instagram or Facebook, I expect, this is very, very normal. I expect people to like the image or video I'm posting. I don't even know why, but this is something what I have. And then I bet this is with everybody. And it's unfortunate, I mean, but it wouldn't lead me to commit suicide if nobody likes a picture I posted. But again, if you think like that, I would highly suggest go to a hospital or go to a psychiatrist or whatever, get yourself checked, because that is not normal. Harming yourself over something virtual isn't going to make any sense. But once again, I'm not going to be ignorant, but mental health is a real thing, and unfortunately cyberbullying is a real thing. And we have seen that. We have seen people getting bullied when we were in school, Tarb, and it's really unfortunate, man. I just hope people who got bullied are doing well in life. They deserve better, man.
That's the thing, is just when you're in high school and when you're so young, you don't really pay attention to these things. Oh, he's just getting bullied. We're just having fun. We're not, it's not serious. Oh, just take it easy, man. Why are you so tough about it? But then,
Right, why are you being emotional? Yeah.
yeah, we're just having fun with the guy. Like, we're just having fun, and then the consequences later in life turn out to be more serious. So, cyberbullying, is taking more control than, I guess, physical bullying. And cyberbullying is it's on show for everyone. Before, if you were physically being abused in school, it was just a certain amount of number of people that were around that could see what was happening. But now cyberbullying is just your whole school, your whole batch, your whole group of friends, and people from all different sections and groups and classes can see what's going on. So, and everyone's on it, everyone's making fun. So it's more enormous, and qualitatively it's more it's high in amount. So I can see how cyberbullying, I personally feel cyberbullying is more dangerous than physically getting beaten up in school, because
I agree, because that affects you mentally, man.
Yeah, the mental struggles, as we all know, are more harder than the physical ones. So before we leave, I just want to give everyone some simple advice, that try to cut down on your social media, and try to observe yourself, how you feel. Like, if you feel like you're being nudged and you feel like, I should get on my phone, it's been a while, what's happening on Instagram, and it's only been like 30 minutes since you last checked your Instagram, and now you have like an adrenaline rush inside you, just like a drug that you want to use, and you want to open your app, then you have a problem. And when I say you have a problem, you would say, oh, but everyone does that. Everyone checks their Instagram 30 minutes. And I would say, hell yeah, but then everyone has a problem. And it's upon our personal responsibility that we need to better ourselves. So try to take it easy on yourself. Try not to go into that hole of social media where you're just circulating around posts. And try to bring about a better change in your life. And you'll feel way better. You'll just feel like you just came out of a dream, and now you can see real stuff, and you can be more productive. That's what I would leave you guys with.
Again, we are not against social media at all. Social media plays a huge role in our lives, and also not only just social media, right? We have to look into technology as well. We're not against technology at all, but I might sound old school here, but here's the thing. A lot of jobs have become affected with all these technologies we have, on our fingertips. Let's look at the automotive industry. It has basically, it doesn't have any value anymore. People hardly do that because robots have taken over, unfortunately. And same thing with everything. I would say, you never know what's going to happen in the future. 10, 15 years later, truck drivers are going to be replaced. Self-driving cars, your Uber drivers, your cab drivers are going to be replaced as well. I'm not against technology. Again, like I said, I was a computer science major until I dropped out of school. I love technology, but in the end, it is actually harming. We are actually harming ourselves with all these things. In the end, you guys are the judge, but I'm just gonna spread out my opinions, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen in the next 100 years, but I just hope things are better. I hope there is a proper treatment for all of this mess we've created. And again, we are not against social media. We are actually in favor of it, but again, there are some things which need to be looked into, I would say.
That's it. That's the advice I would leave with, and I hope you guys stay safe. I hope you guys make your days productive. I hope you see what's productive and what's counterproductive, and I hope you get more reading and more exercise done than being on your phones. And
before we end up, Tarib, most people don't know how to cook here. Okay, I know most people who are listening to this,
including myself,
don't know how to cook. Well, I won't say you don't know how to cook, because I've tried your food in the past when I came. That was
the only time I tried.
Right, that was the only time I tried, and I actually saw a video of it too. You know how to cook though. But the thing is, I would watch more YouTube videos. I would just learn how to cook or learn a new thing on YouTube, so that it can help you out for those, I mean, you guys are going to be 24, 25. That's what most of our majority is. And I think I should say, you know, learn how to cook, because that's going to help you guys.
Okay.
Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying, but the thing is, I would say just learn how to cook, because that's a basic necessity.
Yes,
And
guys.
again,
For New
it's-
Yorkers, especially, learn how to
right.
cook, because prices are crazy.
Please learn how to cook.
Yes,
Tariq.
that's a good advice.
Right. You don't want to spend. Yeah, you don't want to spend like $10 or $12 for just a plate, which is gonna last you for a few hours.
Okay, sure. We get your advice. That's good advice.
You are listening to Voice of the Time with Haroon and Tariq.